Hey guys, so I've just finished a coaching with Greek soprano Dana Ibletsa on a madrigal by Lutzasko-Lutzaski, and it was very interesting because it brought up a few issues I've actually brought up recently in a few posts in Italian that you can find on my profile. I came up with this huge questions, and I even asked a few great historians of the Italian language who, as we speak right now, could not give me an answer. The question is, before we had the news on TV, how was the official diction of literary Italian transmitted? Because librettists, in our case, and poets who came from different parts of Italy, who in the daily speech had very different local sounds and cadenzas, yet seem to be aware that there is one standard Italian. How did that happen? In modern Italy, this is a very good chance, this madrigal, to see how the language evolved, okay? Because you have de, l'anno separated, whereas in modern Italian, the habit to say dell'anno with a doubling after de, with a mandatory doubling after de, became a change in the orthography, because now we write dell'anno in one word with two L's. Or you have, right in the next verse, you have et di novelli amori, et di novelli when the writing was still, as in Latin, et, so it was more intuitive that you had to make an assimilation with a doubling, et di, because et to di is terrible. We would never do it in Italian, it's not economical. So that tells you where a lot of diction rules come from. It's in my book as well. I listed a few cases. So it's very weird, but whereas we double after de, we don't double after di. Although they have different grammatical functions in the Italian language, after de, me, te, and the se, all the monosyllables, the weak monosyllables, so the non-tonic monosyllables that end with an I, e, me, te, de, se, we double. After all those monosyllables, independently from their grammatical function, syntactical function in the phrase, that ends with an I, di, si, mi, ci, ti, we don't. So the final I calls from a doubling, madre di fiori, the final the final I dell'anno calls for a doubling. The final I di fiori doesn't. Okay? Dell'anno di fiori. The basic rule in Italian is that no consonant, no initial consonant of a word is doubled if it follows a vowel. If an initial consonant of a word comes after a vowel, by default, it's plain. Unless the word that comes before that consonant responds to a number of cases. For example, it's a monosyllable, it ends with a graphic accent, it's a certain word like ogni or come, and in that case we double. But by default, when a consonant, a single consonant initial of a word is placed in between two vowels, so when it follows a vowel, it's plain. Unless it responds to specific cases. They are listed in the book as well. There are rules. A word like madre, or I know we are always, the V's and the M's are always very tempting when they are at the beginning of a word, madre, morte, or whatever. But in this case, you don't have to forget, in a word like madre, you have the DR group that's really strong, and you can make the best out of that consonantic group. As in morte, you have the RT group, and that's very strong, so you don't have to go morte, you can go la morte, or in this case, bella madre di fiori. You don't have to strengthen the M to emphasize the word madre, because you have a DR group that's very strong, and you can make the very best out of that, or out of those consonants, instead of the initial one. It's not as in German.
So the M is double, but it doesn't need M.
No, it's not doubled. Bella madre. Consistency. There is an inconsistency that tells you that the Italian language was getting shaped then and there. Si vezzosa e bella. The first time you don't have the T. It could be a typo. They could have just missed it. Si vezzosa e bella the first time. Very same line, 2 measures after, 3 measures after, you have it bella.
Yeah.
Same phrase, 2 different spellings of the e. First you have e,
right.
Then you have it, but it's the very same case. Okay, so it could be a typo. Maybe the one who did the manuscript, be it Lusasco himself, I have no clue, or someone else, I don't think so. They just missed it. But that, or that's, you know, that's the evidence that Italian was taking shape then and there. In fact, in modern Italian, we would write it without the T, e bella, but we would pronounce it e bella as if the T was still there.
Was there.
The general rule for monosyllables, you double after every monosyllable ending in vowel in Italian, unless it's one of those ending in I, si, mi, ci, vi, di. Those make an exception. But by default, after monosyllables, ma, se, ne, che, we always double. Monosyllables ending with vowels, of course. We always make the doubling.
Okay.
Manon, manon.
Manon.
Tu ben sei quella. To ben, you double because ben comes after tu. That is a monosyllable.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
Sei quella. The Q comes after a double vowel. Sei quella. So it's in between 2 vowels. So it's plain. By default, it's plain. And the word that precedes that Q is a bisyllable. Sei. It's not a monosyllable. It's not one of those words like come, dove, ogni, sopra, after which we have to double. So it's that Q doesn't respond to any of those exceptional cases in which an initial consonant in between 2 vowels has to be doubled. It's a default case. It comes after a bisyllable, it's in between 2 vowels, so it's plain. Sei quella, sei quella. Già quel contempo fui siccaro. Siccaro we double because it's a C, but it's not a reflexive C, it's a C with an accent. Siccaro, così, sic. In Latin used to be sic. Siccaro agli occhi altrui, so it's not the sì caro, it's sic caro agli occhi altrui, così caro, so dear.
Oh.